There's this quiet paradox in modern leadership, listeners. We are more connected than ever, yet most leaders feel more isolated, stretched thin, and reactionary rather than inspired. And between these constant notifications, shifting priorities, endless meetings, and the rise of AI as well, the line between leading and managing chaos, it feels blurrier every day. Today, on this episode of the BizBlend podcast, listeners, we are going to dive deep into this exact thought, this exact thing. My guest today believes leadership doesn't start in the boardroom or the inbox, it starts long before you log in. Mark Briggs is an executive coach, author of The Butterfly Impact, and also the founder of the Empyrean Group. He has helped leaders from startups to city governments and media powerhouses reclaim time, clarity, and purpose in today's AI driven world. So, for this episode, listeners, we are getting real and raw about what it actually takes to show up as a fully human leader in an increasingly automated tech world. So, Mark, welcome to the show, and I'm really, really honored to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Excited about today's talk.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, before everything, Mark, so because you're working across different industries, I mean, you work with startups, you work with city governments, and then you're also working with the media powerhouses. I would love to get an idea about how all these industries are receiving AI. Like people would say that AI is going to eat jobs, destroy creativity. Yeah, I do agree to some extent. But then there's also this side of the other end of side of the coin, that AI helps us automate the day-to-day tasks, the repetitive tasks, redundant ones. It also helps in structuring our creative work as well. So I would love to know your thoughts and your observations.
Yeah, AI is many things, and we talk about it often through the negative lens of what it could disrupt or even destroy. But honestly, what I try to help my clients with is the mindset around this technology, not necessarily the tools or what the dystopian future that you read about in so many headlines might portend. So when we start with our mindset, it's really a matter of opening up to innovation and to really this era that we've never seen before. This tool, this technology is incredible. And for people who haven't really connected to it, the first
Mm-hmm.
step in the process is really just to open your mind to finding something incredible that you can do with the technology in your life, because it can do so many different things. If you haven't had that moment of, oh my gosh, then you really haven't taken the time to experiment with the technology and really connect with what the potential actually is.
I agree with you, Matt. I agree with you. And also, right now, I mean, I'm not sure if you would agree with me or not, but I feel that we are right now in that AI bubble. I mean, we have seen the dot-com bubble. We have seen, um, you know, how computers, the internet and everything came. And every tool is trying to get integrated with AI, maybe to get more traction, to be more recognized or be more efficient, whatever could be the end goal. But how would you suggest, especially founders or those who are in media or, any industry, how to understand which tool is actually necessary and which is not?
It's a great question, one I get all the time. And unfortunately, it really does depend on who you are and what you do and what you need to do. In my work with busy executives and leadership teams, the way I try to frame it is there's always a next gear. So if you're riding a bike and you're cruising along on a flat road You got a lot of momentum, but then the road starts to climb and you need to shift gears and you need to find a better gear for that now uphill climb. Or maybe it's a downhill sprint and you need to shift gears again to get going faster. So my view is that because of this technology, no one is at their max capacity. You might be pedaling as hard as you can, but if you haven't found the next gear for what you need to do today using this technology, then you're leaving something on the table. For the first time in history, we can talk to a supercomputer that processes words and information 300 million times faster than we can. So if you deal with words and information and ideas, which most busy executives and leadership teams do, then you need to be leveraging these tools. And what I see is it really comes down to human potential. There's never been an easier or faster way to pursue it than in the era of AI. It means there's a better way to do what you currently do, just tactically in your work in your life. And it also means you can rapidly learn to become an expert at anything. And if you haven't started to tap into this potential using this technology, then, like I said, you're leaving a lot on the table.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I really love the word tactically because, I mean, it could be very simple. Let's see, even if I know the most basic AI tools and I just want to simply write an email or, let's say send some cold emails, I can, just give a very basic command, get the output and just copy and paste it. But that wouldn't make, uh, it human. And I think that's what kind of makes the distinction in there. Like be it emails or messages or any creative write-up also, like even scripts and everything.
Well, I like to look at it and help people see it
Mm.
as not just tools in a toolbox, but a total system upgrade. And to think about it from a system perspective means you're asking bigger questions of how it can help you. So, for example, last year there was some research done by AWS and Asana that found that information workers typically spend 84 minutes a day looking for the information they need to do their job. So that's 84 minutes a day that we are wasting just
Mhm.
digging through computer files, searching our hard drives, searching our cloud drives, trying to figure out where did we put that report? Where did that email go? Where did we have that project plan? And if you have a connected system using new technology powered by AI, that's going to dramatically reduce those 84 minutes a day and give you that time back to be a better human, to be more creative, to take more time leading and mentoring and teaching and doing the types of tasks and really focusing on the priorities that most executives I work with feel like they're too busy to attend to. So, the way I really try to present leveraging this technology is a way to streamline your personal operating system, which everybody has, in a way that allows you to spend more time doing the things that only the humans can do.
I connect with that. So you mean to say that time is the problem here, like in terms of how you help leaders to use AI to reclaim ours and show up with more presence. So time is the problem, and also the productivity, the efficiency as well is kind of the gray area here. That's what you mean to say, right?
Absolutely. Work
Mm.
with, clients and colleagues and seemingly everybody that I talk to feels like they just don't have enough time to do the really important stuff that they want to do, whether it's strategic, whether it's creative, whether it's just the purpose and the why that they got into this job to do. And so I help people reconnect with that why, with that purpose, and then streamline their system so that they create more time so that they can focus on that. For example, everybody has a way that they take notes. Everybody has a way that they manage their tasks. Everybody has a way that they organize the information that they compile. And if you haven't updated that since AI technology has become mainstream, then you're missing out on a way to really streamline your system in a way that will create new space for you to do that mentorship, to do that strategic planning, to be more creative. And so that's how we're helping our clients, both single executives and leadership teams, find space so that they can be more strategic and more creative by using this technology. It's not a matter of outsourcing your creativity or your strategy to AI. It's a matter of leveraging AI in your system to streamline your processes and your tasks and your tactics so that you create more space to be a better human, honestly.
Understood. Understood. That is fascinating, because um mm, I see so many like founders, of course, using AI, like, or bragging about like how it saves them time, but then that saved time or that space is then filled with meetings, probably not with more meaning in there. Um, so it really,
The executive's answer to everything, right? More meetings.
it's like we have automated the chaos, but the real problem is not yet addressed upon or solved.
I couldn't agree more. One of the areas, since you mentioned meetings, let's talk about that for a second, because I think it's one of the better areas to focus on. If you're an executive, or if you're part of a leadership team, if you've got a startup company, these are all scenarios where meetings can make or break your operation. And because there are new tools available to help you, you need to start leveraging them. And so my favorite meeting note taker is called Read AI. It's a company based here in Seattle where I live. And what it will help you do is turn your meetings into collective intelligence. As it
Mhm.
takes notes over time, it builds really a small language model, not a large language model, but a small language model. It's only focusing on the information and the ideas that are discussed in your leadership team meetings. And now it turns around and becomes a chatbot and can produce reports and connect dots and surface insights that you could have never surfaced before. How many executives have you met that have a stack of notebooks on their shelf from all the meetings they've been to in the past year? And you can't access that information if it's in paper sitting on your shelf. But if you have AI in your meetings in a really sophisticated tool that can then capture that information and also organize it and allow you to access it in a way that you want, now you're surfacing opportunities and ideas and really making connections that were not possible before this technology existed. So that's definitely one of the first areas that I try to help, executives and teams with is just take what you're already doing. You're already having meetings. Why don't you add some AI into it and see what you can uncover, what you can unlock by leveraging the ideas and the intelligence, the judgment, the wisdom that the humans are creating, but get AI to help you make those connections and surface those insights that you weren't otherwise exposed to.
Mm, makes sense. Makes sense. And also, moving on, you have said great leadership starts long before we walk into the office. I mean, that makes so much sense. But in a culture that rewards, constant output, um, how can leaders justify, putting things like walk the dog or date night on their calendars? I really love that. I'm really excited. Like, what's your thought?
You really need motivation to change behavior. We all know that. If you're trying to eat better, exercise more, meditate, journal, whatever it might be, you need that motivation to really help change the behavior that you want. So when you're thinking about, for example, redesigning your morning routine, the outcome of that needs to be more than just saving a little bit of time or waiting another hour before you get into your emails. And it has to be something that motivates you. So, what you mentioned about date night is interesting because it really surfaced organically in my work with some of my clients. And it became this KPI for whether they really had their stuff together or not. If you have your stuff together and you're checking off your to-do lists and you're managing your team and you're moving things forward, you get to have date night with your partner on Friday or Saturday. And if you're overwhelmed and you're stressed and you're just not in a good space, then that's going to be much more difficult. So having an actual goal that feels motivating to you will help you change the behavior and just insert some experimentation with these tools. In workshops that I do, I always end with a recommendation and really a challenge to people to spend 5 minutes a day with five different tools. And in 1 week, you're going to have more experience using AI than you have previously. And where you go from there is totally determined by what you're trying to accomplish. Where do you feel like your biggest area of opportunity is or your biggest problem to solve is? But it's just getting going and having a goal of something like getting to work out more, trying that journaling habit, getting back to art or painting or having a date night. That's the outcome of this. So I want people to think about trying to use some new AI tools or some new ways to use these AI tools as a result that will be part of what they think and feel is like a better version of their life this week or this month or whatever the case might.
Mm, you got it. Yeah, yeah. But for any when it comes to, let's bring the take the scale to, let's say, a founder or an entrepreneur, or let's say any business owner, that they're trying to build something which demands that kind of um, dedication and investment in terms of time, focus, sometimes, quote unquote, sacrifices. Um, Fine. AI would be like helping them a lot, but at the same time, accommodating activities which are, very much personally important to them, that focuses or contributes in building that character, building that leadership within them. They may feel like that this is something like an indulgence for me, it's a luxury for me, I cannot afford to do this. They'll be having that guilt feeling. So, have you encountered such conversations while implementing this approach with the founders or maybe clients you have worked with?
Not exactly. I feel I experience more often quite the opposite, which is a clear vision for an area of someone's life where they want to get better at. So maybe you want to be a better communicator. Maybe you want to be a better leader. Maybe you want to be a better teammate or colleague or a better partner in your life. Once you have that focus of what that next gear is that you want to shift into, then you can quickly use AI to become an expert at learning that. So, one of the best methods or applications of these tools is learning. And in order to really feel the power of it, you have to have a specific learning goal. So if you want to learn how to manage your calendar better, if you want to learn how to have a difficult conversation, if you want to learn how to do better strategic planning over the next 90 days, AI
Mm.
can help you do this much faster than anything we've ever had before. So again, it comes back to the human part of this equation, which is, do you have a clear learning goal in mind that's going to make an impact on your life, on your business? Then AI can help you do that. But you can't just show up and open up ChatGPT and expect it to magically figure out what your learning goal is and then execute the plan to help you learn what it is. There's a
Mm.
real important first step in here that is all human, and it's all determined by your situation, your context, your goals, your opportunities, and your challenges. So that's why really the work that I do with executive coaching and leadership development is just getting really put on steroids because of this technology. We can help people learn so much faster to help them accomplish their goals and solve their problems than ever before.
Exactly. And I think one of the good, which personally I am also using, like right now we have different models, especially when it comes to ChatGPT. in GPT-5. I mean, you can kind of give it a company persona or maybe your own persona in there, which will kind of, guide its algorithm to deliver on the lines aligned with what, as a human, you like to think or like to behave, what expectations you have. So I think there are a lot of advancements in there, but at the same time, how to incorporate those advancements tactically, as you mentioned initially, I think that is something that will differ from human to human. That's where that human aspect comes into the picture.
Absolutely. Yeah, what you're referring to is now being called source grounding. And that's the concept that you build out a version of an AI tool with a lot of your organizational content or your personal content so that when you are leveraging it in chat or in conversation or having it help you create or review documents or whatever it is you need to do, it's already grounded in the source material that you want it to be based upon. So I have 6 versions of a custom GPT, one for marketing, one for AI system enhancement, and so on and so forth. I also have 4 human assistants and partners that work with me in my company. So I always offer that because while I love my custom GPTs, they are no replacement for the humans that are helping me build and run my company. Now, beyond that, it's really a matter of taking the system, like you say, and figuring out what tactics you want to employ. For me, I have a pretty simple tech stack. I use Perplexity all the time to answer questions and learn how to do something, whether it's something as simple as changing my email address on LinkedIn or figuring out what the best leadership podcast related to AI is. I mean, you can discover the answers to your questions so much faster today than ever before. So you should never be stuck by a question that you don't know the answer to. Now, my favorite tool is called Notion. And while it's not specifically an AI tool, it's more of a all-in-one note organization, sort of second brain piece of software that I took everything that I had in Evernote and OneNote and Google Docs and Notes app on my phone, and I just put it all in there about 2.5 years ago. And then they added the AI features to it. And now it helps me know more about what I know. And it knows how I write. It knows what I'm doing on a daily basis almost. It knows the context of my world. So as it's helping me with my content and my insights and my strategy, it feels like it's part of my team. And it's that
Mhm.
small language model I was referring to. So instead of thinking of it as a tool, like I go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude for a one-off task, I'm able to access that powerful technology within my own environment that's all inside of Notion. So I know people that do this with Google and Gemini and obviously Microsoft and Copilot. So there's many different ways to do it, but it's about thinking about this as a system and putting all of your organizational content into an environment that is leveraged by AI that can really be a force multiplier on what you're trying to accomplish today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that, I don't know, 1000% makes sense. 1000% makes sense. And before we wrap up, Mark, a bit of a nuanced question. Um, some people here would argue that focusing too much on purpose and presence, it distracts from this, hard business um, results. How would you respond to leaders who say that we don't need mindfulness and all that stuff? We need momentum.
I would say that mindfulness creates the momentum that you need. And I really strongly believe that it is the clarity that teams and executives really struggle with and is the biggest unlock into velocity. So, one of my favorite concepts is the difference between speed and velocity. And one of the client teams that I work with is a very fast growing cybersecurity startup. and they were moving very fast when we started working together, but they didn't have velocity. And so by taking the time to create better processes, to create more clarity and visibility across the organization, what were the priorities? Where are we to in relation to those goals? Where is the information? How do we set up for the next sales call? All of these really tactical efforts are helped by clarity. And so now they feel like they have velocity instead of just speed. Because speed is addicting because it makes you feel like you're really working hard and working well because you're checking things off your list. But if you're just being busy and you're not being efficient and effective, then you're not really achieving the maximum potential of the velocity that you could be with your team. And I don't think that's possible without stepping back and taking stock of your purpose, of your big goals, of really the why you're doing this. And so I've seen it time and again where if you just keep trying to put the pedal to the metal and go faster and faster, it's just a recipe for burnout and really wasted energy. So yeah, I would always encourage folks to take a step back, use a wide angle lens, try to figure out where are we being held back, what's blocking us from achieving what we really want to achieve, and why we get up in the morning and do this.
That's such a brilliant way to put. It really, really, like made me kind of feel regret to miss those physics classes. But that makes sense. That makes sense. Absolutely. Speed with direction.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant, Mark. So before we wrap up, if listeners they would like to, I'm very sure they would like to connect with you. If they have something to share after this conversation with you, and they would also like to connect with you, what would be the best way to do that?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Mark Briggs, and my website is markbriggs.org.
Brilliant. So listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the details in the show notes for you. So just refer to them along with this episode on whichever platform you listen to your podcast to. And before I close this conversation, listeners, I think what struck me the most in this is leadership at its core isn't about managing others. It is about mastering your own energy. And Mark reminds us that every small reset, every intentional, deliberate pause can create a ripple effect far beyond the metrics, the dashboards, and the reports. So, Mark, thank you so much for this such an energetic and very, very profound take and conversation on AI and leadership.
Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Same here, Mark. And to all the listeners, I hope that you resonated with this. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to BizBlend because that helps us keep the wheels running here at BizBlend. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time, this is your host, Sana. And this is BizBlend, where business meets the real stuff life's made of. Thank you.